With the new Hunger Games book bringing a rise in popularity to one of my favourite franchises, I've heard a few people ask why the games actually began. And whilst this is explained in the books, I get that not everyone wants to spend hours analysing every single paragraph, so I'm going to explain it now instead. But first, we need to dive into the history of Panem. After civilization in North America was destroyed due to a combination of natural disasters, war, and other poor choices by humanity, a nation called Panem was established. It consisted of 13 districts and the capital, where its government and power would be seated. We then only have capital accounts of how they ruled, and whilst Coriolanus Snow claims they did so with the goal of bringing peace and prosperity to the districts, it's likely they treated them with great prejudice. Anyway, whatever happened during the early years of Panem led to a rebellion with the districts uprising against the capital rule. This would be later known as the Dark Days. The rebellion supposedly was started by District 13 and would last for 3 years. And for the last 2 years of it, capital civilians would suffer due to the lack of supplies coming into the city and the frequent electricity blackouts. This meant many would starve, resorting to theft and even cannibalism. The rebellion would eventually fail, with the district forces attempting to take over the capital, but overestimating the amount of cover they would have. This would turn the tide, allowing the capital to have the upper hand. After this, District 13 would forge a ceasefire deal with the capital, the entire district going into hiding underground and becoming self-sufficient. The rest of Panem would not know about this, instead believing the entire area to have been bombed. Without District 13, the other rebels had no chance of winning, and Panem was reunified under the capital's government. Following this, the capital forged the Treaty of Treason, a law to keep the remaining districts in place and to remind them of their failed rebellion. It would keep the people divided and suppressed so that another rebellion would not happen. The treaty included a plan stolen from 2 previous Academy students' homework, a punishment for one's enemies that was so extreme that they'd never forget how they had wronged the other. It happened to be that of one Crassus Snow and Casca Highbottom, 2 best friends who had created the concept of the Hunger Games as a joke. The pair were drunk, and whilst Highbottom was planning on ripping up the project after he slept off the alcohol, Snow would hand it in. It would later be added to the treaty as the punishment for the failed uprising against the capital. Highbottom always hoped the games would fade away due to the horrific nature of them, but he was unfortunately mistaken. So yeah, the Hunger Games were a drunken mistake by a pair of teenagers trying to get a good grade. It was meant to be a theoretical concept, not a real thing, and it must have been terrible for Casca Highbottom to realise his work is behind the deaths of so many children in Panem.